No, but guys, you know this. And now we're on my most interesting topic. Seriously, the most interesting topic. I know, like, law is interesting, and I won't ever transition. Gay, faggy. I won't transition to like a relationship commentary, or like certainly not a red pill channel, because look at me, beta. But I won't ever do that. But I am so fucking interested in how men and women interact in all these different contexts and concepts that have been created in my lifetime that I don't understand, because I've been away for so long. Like, again, 19 years, married to this woman, 20 years dating her, 21 years dating her, maybe 22. I don't even know anymore. So like, I'm not in that thing, but it's changed so dramatically. And there's so many angles to it that I find it really interesting. I want to talk to people about it, because it's like, to me, to put a capstone on this, it's the most important part of human interaction, because it's the thing that keeps the species going. And I think it's got to be balanced, right? It's got to be workable in some way. Because if you fuck up human reproduction and you fuck up the family foundation, whatever it is, however you structure the smallest government, the family unit, which is the only acceptable tyranny on the planet. And as Jesse Lee Peterson would say, the man has to be the tyrant of the family. But if you fuck that up, which they always try to, and you fuck up human reproduction, what you have is self-deleting genocide. Right? So I'm actually wildly interested in the subject from the sustaining of the human race perspective, but also just the general interactions between men and women, because I see so many people commenting in various places, like as content creators, or as panelists, or as viewers, or even as supporters. So many people commenting in different ways about this subject that's baffling to me, because it's so far outside of my experience. Like, I get along with women pretty well. Like, I talk to them just fine, but I'm also not like trying to have sex with any of them. So I can just talk freely as me and have a conversation. Whereas this is a different dynamic if there's a potential for like a further interaction, right? And so when people describe like their interactions with women as men, because who knows, from the women perspective, I don't know what you fucking bitches are doing. But when people talk about it, I'm like, this is foreign to me. I don't understand. Are you autistic, or is there just such a different context going on that I can't understand? And I don't know. I don't know at all. But I find these little overlaps, and they're fascinating to me. And I hadn't really thought about, I don't know what triggered the picture thing in my head. Some chat, doesn't matter. But it's like, yeah, it's way different for guys and girls, isn't it? And I don't know, because I don't have any reason to take sexy pictures. Like, if I'm taking a sexy picture for my wife, like I just like take a picture of a clean table, or like a vacuum the floor or whatever, right? Like, that's like, hey babe, you want to see something hot? Look at this bathroom I scrubbed down. That's what I do. But I'm just me. Like, there's this whole thing. Oh, and it goes back to the difference. Women perceive men as basically a maximum of a 3 in attractiveness, or a minimum of an 8. And there's no gap. There's no like guys who are 6s. They don't exist. Guys who are 5s and 6s aren't real. You're either an 8 to 10, or you're a 3 or lower on physical attractiveness. And so then you have to do everything else to overcome the gap, or you just walk around as a faggot twink who probably doesn't even like women. It's a weird dynamic, man. Whereas men have this stratified view of women from 1 all the way to 10. And that's backed up by studies we've talked about on the channel, but it's wild. So when you think about that, like, women have this ability to do that, like on a broad spectrum. You can be a chick who's a 5 all the way up to a 10 and get guys to pay you. Guys, you have to be an 8 to go with like raw sexiness, or you have to incorporate something else, achievement, comedy, something into it to overcome the gap of going from a 3 to an 8. Like, that's a 5-point gap. You know what women have to do to overcome a 5-point gap? They have to stop eating or start throwing up. Self-loathing lube says, or you could get married and not worry about this. Okay, so yes, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. Let's go. But here's the thing. I have been told over and over and again that I don't understand the modern dating market. I don't understand it. And so guys are like, well, you have to compete in this marketplace that's different than when I was I wasn't competing. Like there's just literally, you just grabbed a chick, you blindfolded her, and then you fed her liquor until she agreed to marry you. That's just what you did. It's not true, but it's funny. It's not funny. It's actually horrible. Going to hell. But it wasn't the same. You didn't have 1,000 guys on DMs that you're competing with. Just the people who are around you. You just have to somehow kneecap them, not physically, but in some way, and be better than the people around. But if you're in a trash area, that's okay. You just have to fool them into thinking you're important. But when it comes to like Tinder and shit that exists now, these women have options beyond anything we've ever seen. And people tell me I don't know anything about that, which is fine. Like I'm okay. But how do you get married in that environment? I don't know. How do you guys get married in that environment? How do you attract women in that environment? Very interesting shit to me. Here I am, just a weirdo.